Everybody around the world knows the King of Pop. His iconic dance moves, songs, and performances have shocked the world for decades.
Those aren't the right lyrics to that song.
Yeah, no one knows the right lyrics to that song.
No.
Michael Jackson has sold 750 million albums, won 13 Grammys and 26 American Music Awards, and had 50 of his albums spend 4,500 weeks on the Billboard charts. However, nobody can ever really know the true Michael Jackson. That's why I decided to find out as much as I could about him. I have always been a huge MJ fan. Whenever I hear those first beats of Billie Jean or The Way You Make Me Feel, I can't help but impersonate his dance moves as best I can, even in the most public of places. While I knew what my opinion of MJ's music and dancing was, the verdict was still out on how I felt about his personal life. I decided that I would try to find out if the media controlled Michael, or if Michael controlled the media. Fans all have different perceptions of who Michael Jackson is, and part of that is because of the entertainment industry's depiction of him.
You don't even know who's in the video. He done tore his face up so much, he can't even...
I saw Michael on 60 Minutes. Ed Bradley tried his best to make Michael look like a mammal.
Michael is the epitome of one of the great entertainers of our time.
Michael's a perfectionist, and you don't really find that in pop music.
He's just an icon of performance, and his talent runs so deep in creativity, and he draws from a deeper emotion than anybody else I've ever seen or worked with.
Of course, the truth is always a little fuzzy within media stories.
Today's entertainment news is what I think we could safely say is very sensationalized. How truthful is any news? I don't know. You know, you never know what is contrived or what is manipulated or what is invented by a PR company. Hey, let's do this, let's do that. I don't really, as close as I've been to this business my entire career, I don't know what gets cooked up. You know, you don't know what gets, you know, let's go do this, let's go do that. And I think what happens is there's a breakdown between that and then when things get reported.
Michael Jackson was able to captivate the world through his celebrity because the entertainment industry followed the fascinating story of his entire life and career. Born in Gary, Indiana, Michael Joseph Jackson became the lead singer of the Jackson 5 at age 6, where he and his brothers were able to have their first 4 major singles reach the Billboard Hot 100. However, as many people know, Michael didn't have it easy as a child.
You were very heavily disciplined by your father. Would he only use a belt?
Why do you do this to me? And I was so fast, you know, he couldn't catch me half the time, but when he would catch me, oh my God.
These memories carried with him throughout his life, but they were not always at the focus of Michael's publicized life. He had much more that the media could use to their advantage. Over the last few decades, media stories about celebrities have grown infinitely. Consumers of media are constantly watching what celebrities do. Foucault argues that people who are doing the observing have a certain power. Those being surveyed are constantly under the scrutiny of a watchful eye, especially because our postmodern culture privileges the visual. Laura Mulvey furthers this idea by explaining that the cinema fulfills our scopophilic desires, or our pleasure in looking at others. While what people watch is highly manufactured, they still enjoy feeling that they have a controlling gaze over the ones they watch. This voyeuristic appeal is enhanced by the bright, moving images appearing on screen, making the viewer feel further separated from these images. Cinema also focuses on the human form, So the audience gets pleasure in being able to recognize similarities between themselves and the images they see. This is where the concept of celebrity comes into play. Andy Warhol said in his book America, "Who wants the truth? That's what show business is for, to prove that it's not what you are that counts, it's what they think you are." There was also the highly publicized documentary Living with Michael Jackson. This extended interview by journalist Martin Bashir attempts to get a glimpse at the private life of Michael Jackson. Many believed after it aired, however, that Bashir tried to exploit Jackson's trust by building a relationship with him and then making him out to be a freak, taunting him with demeaning questions and only showing certain parts of the interview that would portray Jackson in a negative light.
The first opportunity to talk about his bizarre behaviour was later that evening at a charity auction.
I mean, what about the trip to the zoo today?
I love going to the zoo, even though it was difficult. It was like pandemonium, but as long as I get to see the gorillas, I'm satisfied. I love the gorillas.
Didn't Prince get poked in the eye?
Did Prince get poked in the eye? No.
He was okay?
He's okay, yeah.
The children were under enormous pressure with people all around.
Yeah.
Although Bashir's methods of getting to Michael may have been unethical, can celebrities be surprised when reporters dig deep for information? Celebrities don't have the same ability for privacy because everybody always wants to know what they're doing.
We're in a new world today, you know? We're in a world of transparency. We're in a world of exposing yourself. We're in a world where privacy doesn't mean what it once meant. We're in a world of Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr and Snapchat now for the young people who are exiting Facebook. So we're in this really fast-moving machine that just gobbles things up. One of those things that gets gobbled up, I'm afraid, can be celebrity, can be a person, can be a person's life, can be destroyed by this machine. And I remember the first time I ever went to Hollywood, my mentor at the time said, "Be very careful in this town. This town can chew you up and spit you out." It also is the very machine that can build you up and make you a star. So it's a dangerous balance.
You know, I was wondering, you know, if you could keep on, because the force, it's got a lot of power, and it makes me feel like it makes me feel like
I thought he was very creative, troubled childhood, too much pressure by Dad, corrupted him a bit, which is a shame. And so I think there's, as with most things, positive and negative things about his life.
Michael Jackson is the best. He's like the head of the generation. Everybody love him, and everybody like him, and nobody can replace him. So guys, whatever you do, nobody can take his place. He's the #1 in the world. And I love always to hear Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson, rest in peace. We all love you.
To a lot of my friends, he was an idol. To my mother, I would say as well, is an idol. And to some friends, he's a rapist. At the end of about Thriller, I'd say it turned bad. Once that hit, that made its thing, then bad things started happening to his life.
He was very talented, and he's creative, making all these dance moves, and he was cool.
Pop star, you can't think no more of him than what he really was. He stood out. He was the king of rockin'. What is it? King of pop.
Along with celebrity status comes fandom. According to Stever, people who feel as if they know these celebrities feel that they have a sort of relationship with them known as a parasocial relationship. This imagined personal relationship with celebrities is a facet of the culture industry that we are experiencing. Adorno believes that this mass consumption of everything put out by the capitalist society is dangerous. Consumers become reliant on what's put out by the mass media to be happy. Because of the prevalence of mass media, and in particular TV, Stever explains that fandom is a natural part of development. Fans are fascinated by the celebrity's face, and it becomes a sense of familiarity due to repeated exposure. The illusion of intimacy, as described by Meyer, explains that TV has broken down the barriers between the public and private lives of celebrities by bringing these larger-than-life personas into our living rooms in psychically manageable size. While Michael's fans have all seen how the media portray their superstar, no matter how hard they try, they can never know the real Michael. And neither can the media. Not only can viewers never know the true person behind the celebrity, Michael was always successful in keeping the media and his fans guessing. According to Garland, while no artist has total creative control over their product, Jackson had most of the control over his music videos during the bad era. His music videos were one outlet he used to create his own stories and ultimately his public identity. Race is obscured not only in his appearance, but also in his music and dances. He wanted to create a raceless race.
Well, how many white people, when they're little kids, look white? Now they look and they sit out in the sun all day to look black. And the suntan lotion business is a multi-billion-dollar business. Nobody says nothing about that. They're trying to be other than what they are, but that's okay, I guess, right?
People said he wanted to look like Diana Ross. I don't think I agree with that. I just don't think he wanted to look African American. I don't think he wanted to look like his dad.
He would tease me about how I looked, and he would say, well, you didn't get it from my side of the family. It must have been on Kate, Kate, he would always say, meaning my mother. You didn't get that from me.
Also up for questioning was Michael's sexuality. Sometimes he seemed hypersexual, such as when he teased his audience with long pauses.
He was sexually androgynous in a way. It was like girls and boys, were attracted to him for different reasons, and I think he did that deliberately. He also used to grab his crotch, but because it was Michael Jackson grabbing his crotch, it wasn't really a overt sexual kind of thing. It was just him grabbing his crotch. It was more to emphasize a dance move more than a sexual thing. It was just an affectation that he had.
Not only was Michael ambiguous about his sexuality, but he also blurred the lines between child and adult.
The Michael Jackson I knew was very childlike, even though he was 25 or 30. He was very childlike. And if you've read the books and you know about his history and the Jackson 5 and his older brothers and his father and that whole thing, it's more easily understood.
No matter how he blurred his identity, Michael Jackson seemed to always have a bigger plan in mind.
I want to be entertained.
I think it kept his fans interested. What's he going to do next? It's really a dichotomy of this person and that celebrity, and he's like a chameleon. He was like a chameleon.
Would you like to be buried in something like this?
No, I don't ever want to be buried.
Really?
No.
Well, what would you like to happen to you?
I would like to live forever.